Hey guys, it's Brian Monnier at California Yoga Company, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about the journey of back pain, right? The process of you getting rid of a chronic back injury or sciatica or a disc issue. There's just no easy way around it. It's a road, and usually a long one. Everybody wants the sexy, quick feeling of getting rid of back pain really quickly, but it just doesn't happen that way. And anybody who promises you differently is either just wants your money or they're just lying to you. When you've got a sciatic issue, for instance, that's like a year journey to really heal 100%. And, if you do the things that you need to do, it will get better faster. So, for instance, if if you're doing yoga, you got to do it 3 to 5 times a week, right? That's just for any modality of healing that you're going to be doing. Time and repetition and intensity are the way to transform and reshape your body into and get rid of the old patterns that are causing the pain, right? And that doesn't happen in a short amount of time. So let's talk a little bit right now about what happens in the timeline of you making the decision, because you always have two decisions. You always have a decision to do something and not to do something, right? If you are going to do something about your pain, then this is what usually happens with my clients, right? So in the first 2 weeks, you feel amazing. You start doing a lot of yoga. You're motivated. You really start, having hope that things are going to get better. Then in week 3 to 4, after you started and you're very regular, it starts to ache. It starts to hurt. And this is usually one of the very first barriers that people quit in. And it's really ultra important that you keep going to your practice, right? You've got to keep moving forward. If you stop, you're just repeating the pattern of fear that you've created around you getting better, right? And listen, it's not the relief from back pain that you want, believe it or not. It's the feeling of not being in pain anymore that you want. And if you can just get through the first initial 3 or 4 weeks, you are exponentially, I think the statistic is you're 75% more likely to get success in getting rid of your back pain if you can get through the first month, right? So then after week 3 or 4, you keep moving forward, you keep going to practice, you adjust and modify as appropriately. So you don't want to make things worse, but you also don't want to stop doing what you're doing, because believe it or not, more than likely, especially if you're doing things the correct way, the right way, right? If you are doing things with good form, you've really started to look at your nutrition and your lifestyle habits, and you're making changes. As odd as it sounds, the pain that you are going to experience in that process is really normal, and it actually can be a good sign. You start getting, your back starts to ache. That means just stuff is moving around, right? Patterns are being broken down, and you're strengthening areas that are weak and stretching areas that are strong, and that experience is not going to be fun, right? Your back got that way for a reason. Your back became injured and became cranky over a long period of time. And that's not going to change in 30 days. You'll get some relief, but I qualify change, real transformative change, as it being 90% gone, if 100% gone. And that isn't going to come from a short amount of time. So after the first month, you've got another couple weeks before it's going to happen again, right? In another 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to hit another layer. It's so you're just peeling back the layers of the stuff that's wrong with your body that's causing pain. One by one, you're just peeling apart these patterns that you have developed in your body. And it happens over and over and over and over again until you get to the real shit. Until you get to the stuff that is really the primary cause, the deeper level of what is happening in your body that's causing pain, right? That's where the real stuff happens, man, and that usually happens about 6 months to 7 months in. So you've got to remember that you've got to give yourself enough time to get through all those layers. And what should happen if you're doing things the right way and you're doing the right kind of yoga for yourself and you are maintaining your nutrition, because nutrition, believe it or not, and lifestyle habits are the way to change everything. The yoga is just a vehicle, right? It's just a preventative health system of strengthening and stretching your body, losing your stress, so that your nervous system and your hormonal system is quiet and it doesn't overload the joint system, right? It's just a vehicle for you to really do the stuff that's going to kind of physically do it, but real change comes from the inside out, and that starts with your food, and that starts with the habits in your life that you're doing. So like lifestyle, for instance, you may not be sleeping enough. But yes, sleep matters. You should be getting like 8 to 10 hours a night, right? Every night. and I can personally attest, like in my own experience in back pain, when I don't sleep very well, I've got a 3-year-old who often wakes me up right now at like 3 in the morning. Oh, God, monsters. And so my sleep patterns get interrupted. And the last time I really tweaked my back was after a very significant bout of not having a lot of deep sleep. If that's one factor, right? What about the patterns of how you move at work, right? What about, when you are at work, are you sitting at a computer and slightly twisted? That's a lifestyle habit that you can change and slightly so that the patterns that are creating your back pain go away. What if you were working 14 to 16 hours a day, or even 10 to 12 hours a day? And the stress, you're in a real stressful job. You may need to change your role in what you do. You may need to change your life, right? Lifestyle changes means change your life. You got to do something different than that has brought you to the point that you are now. And I've got some fairly successful people in their lives coming to my classes, and the hardest part usually is not doing the yoga, right? It's not getting to class. I mean, that can be a challenge with busy schedules, but the hard part is changing the things about your life that's making the shit happen, man. If you are unhappy, you make a crap ton of money, and I have clients that do this, man. They make near 7 figures, but they're unhappy, they're stressed out, their body's breaking down, their health is bad, they always get sick. They walk into my doors, and when we assess all the things in their lives, and it comes up that it's not necessarily their body that's killing them, it's their job. Right? You may need to change your job, or at least your role in your job, right? Often with the super successful clients and people who are, very success oriented, they've got careers, it's not that they always have to change what they do for a living. It's more that they just need to pass stuff off to the people that support them in what they do that makes them a lot of money. Does that make sense? Right? So, for instance, in my own life, running the studio, there's a lot of components. I've got admin paperwork, I've got cleaning, we've got teaching, which I love to do. That's something that I really like to do. I like teaching. There's marketing stuff that has to happen, all the stuff that runs in the components that run the business. And it took me a really long time to realize that I needed to let a lot of stuff go and let my team, the people who I've hired to support me to do what I love to do, which is teach, right? My role and why I started all this was to help more people with the style of yoga that I learned from my teacher, not to be cleaning toilets, not to be stressed out about doing my paperwork to make the business run. So I've let people help me, right? I've just let it go. You got to let it go, man. Yoga's all about letting go and having no attachments. So, these are the kind of stuff it really does. It matters when it comes to your journey in back pain. It really does. And there's a simple reason why. And it has to do with your hormonal system. Right? So if you're overloaded, and you've got back pain, and it's not trauma, like back pain from like you bent over or you fell off a roof or you fell and you hurt yourself, that's different. That's like an event of trauma that still you can follow these guidelines. But most people have back pain because they get stressed out, they stop taking care of their health, they start eating at the wrong times, they start eating in wrong ratios, they stop making time for themselves to do healthy things like going to yoga, going on a walk, getting out of work early, before and not going to happy hour. I've got a lot of clients, man. My people, they like to party, and in the first 30 days, I don't require sobriety to come to my yoga studio, but I definitely encourage it, especially in the first 30 days. Because this is San Francisco, and it is super easy to meet somebody for a glass of wine after work, or appetizers, or to be social with your coworkers after you get off a 12-hour day, right? And when that suddenly becomes habitual, and then you add friends and family coming into town, usually in your first year in the city, it's difficult. Next thing you know, your habit is to go to a bar after work and have just one, right? But you do that 7 times a week. That's a lot of sugar in your body. That's a lot of alcohol consumption weekly, and I remember when that wasn't normal for me. And when it became normal for me to do that in my own life, I was like, oh, well, I got to stop doing that. And I stopped going to my favorite watering hole, because I love them. They're awesome. I appreciate them. And when I go in, it's great to see them. But sobriety getting more sober was really, really beneficial to like my overall health. I lost a ton of weight. My life started going better. I also, I was also a father then, so that kind of also immediately eliminates you from going to happy hours if you want to be an involved parent, which I do. And my back pain, because I've been doing yoga for a really long time, and I manage it. I have a really bad ligament in my low back. That's always going to be bad. Like it's a ligament. It's a ligament damage. So I have to really make sure that I'm doing the things for my own pain regularly in order to see results. And I've got an 18-year journey with this, and for the most part, most of the 18 years since I first fixed my back in my first 2 years of practice, hasn't bugged me much. And it was only this year when I was under a lot of stress, I wasn't sleeping, and I'd gotten off my practice, honestly. I wasn't really hitting my workouts the way that I should, so I just took some responsibility and started getting to practice, started sleeping more, and I had a little bit of weight on me that I wasn't super happy with, because I've always kind of struggled with my weight since my 30s. So, but now my back within a week was fine. So, remember, it's a journey, it's a road, and there's going to be ups and downs. Remember that there's a point after your first 90 days, and the 90 days are the most critical, because that's where you form the habits. It's not 21 days. That is a lie. Anybody can do anything for 21 days. That's not habit forming. 90 days is when you will see, if you're doing things the right way, you start to see like real change, right? And what you should notice is that the time between the periods where your back hurts or it flares up gets longer and longer between them, right? And the periods of how long it hurts will get shorter and shorter and shorter. Usually after about one good solid year of consistent effort, that will alleviate itself. So, I hope that this video has been helpful. If it has, definitely hit me with a heart and like. Share this video if you don't mind, because I've got a lot of people who I know are watching my videos, and they're coming into the studio, and they just really connect with the message. And my goal here is to help more people, especially with back pain, and because it's easier than you think to get out of it. It really is. It's simple. The process, what to do, is very simple. And the hardest part for every single person that has ever walked into my doors in 18 years is simply getting started. So if you can share this and it inspires somebody to walk into any yoga studio, it doesn't have to be me. I can of course help you if you're in San Francisco and you were looking for a solution. I can for sure help you, but it does not have to be me. The whole point is to just get started. Take the first step. I'm going to go teach some yoga, and I got some more to share, but I got stuff I got to do before my class. So I'll talk to you later this afternoon. Be well.